I gotta tell you, Ethan, you come up with some awful ideas, but every now and then you have a great idea. And having Mike Hinkley from Green Flash Brewing on the show tonight is the perfect opportunity to do a beer tasting right in the middle of the workday.
Middle? It's 9 a.m. somewhere.
Hey, let me have a sip of that one, Bilardo.
Hey, Harry, don't you have a show to do?
Oh, live show? No script? What could possibly go wrong? Don't mind if I do. I'm just kidding. Hey, how are you? Thank you for being here. It's Callaway Live. I'm Harry Arnett. Somebody's been drinking Green Flash beer before the show, and that somebody is me. Thanks for being here. This is in that genre of shows. I use the word genre. What are you going to do about it? Of shows that I like the best, because it's sort of some of the things that we love about this show coming together with others. What are those things? Number one, free beer. And there is no number two. That's it. Right? Am I right? Am I right? Okay. We pride ourselves on sort of bringing to the world some things that people really need to know about. What's so funny about that? That was not meant to be funny. Okay. Imagine my surprise. Bringing things to the golf public that they need to know about. If you remember some of our favorite shows, season 1, we had Johnny O on here. His brand's blowing up. We had Seamus Goff on. We had John Ashworth, among many, many others of these sort of our favorite things we're bringing to the public. The other genre that I personally love, and I don't know if anybody else does, but it doesn't matter because it's my show. I love talking to dynamic business leaders. If you think, we've had Dave Novak, we've had Jimmy Dunn, we've had Alan Mullally on the show, Brian Nickel from Taco Bell is here. This is two worlds colliding. One of our favorite business leaders who happens to be started right here locally, and a brand that we love, Green Flash Brewing, the CEO and founder of that enterprise. We personally here in the Callaway Golf Marketing consume over 263,000 cans of Green Flash beer every single week. Please welcome to Callaway Live the founder and CEO of Green Flash Beer, Mike Hinkley. There he is! There's Mike! Hey! How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Love that! Anytime a guest brings beer, sit down, relax. You guys can leave. Let's turn on the TV and watch some TV. You want to do that? I get the feeling every beer company was started with a bunch of guys standing around a keg thinking, we ought to start our own beer company. True or false?
True.
How did this start?
True. How did it start? My first career, I was an accountant. Sorry to all accountants in the room. I hated it.
Sorry. Wasn't anticipating the spit take there.
Yeah. Hated it. And then eventually I had bought a pub. And, I went to school at Cal at Berkeley, and I really loved
that was a big leap. Accountant, and then I bought a pub.
Yeah.
Some stuff happened in between.
Yeah. So, yeah, somewhere in there I was an accountant, and I had a job that I hated for a real long time.
Yeah,
and then,
me too.
Yeah. Cheers to that. Anyway, really loved craft beer. When I opened this little bar, I didn't really intend it to be a craft beer bar, but I had my favorites from college, which was Sierra Nevada and Anchor Steam. I went to Berkeley, and then I put on Stone and Ballast Point, which were brand new San Diego craft beers at the time, and some other good beers. And it kind of turned into craft beer bar on accident, and I got real excited about it. And somewhere along the line, Lisa and I, my wife, decided that, hey, it'd be really cool. I wrote memos and filled out forms for a living, and it was really a cool idea that we could have a product and put it on the shelf or on tap, and our neighbors could see it and buy it, And there was something about that really excited me.
So how did the process start where going from buying beer, putting it in your bar, to making your own beer. Did you know much about that? Did you know some people? I would assume there were some degenerates that hung around the bar that knew about how to make beer, right? I met one of them back there, Dave.
Yeah, Dave. So, you'll meet Dave later. Dave's way more knowledgeable about actually making beer and doing all those things than I am. I'm more of a beer salesman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That sort of thing. I'm a beer geek and a beer salesman. But I had invested in a brewery that tanked in the late 90s when it went out of, kind of was first
just
time.
Went straight suds up.
Yeah, it was terrible.
No. Don't laugh at that. I was testing you to see if you guys were going to laugh at stupid jokes, and you did. Can't trust them.
Anyway, I got interested in it when I had a small investment in a brewery, and then it went suds up. And
see, it was a technical term that you guys were laughing at.
It is. So then a few years later, after I owned the pub, Lisa and I said, you know what, I really enjoyed it. Craft beer seemed to be doing okay again. We say, let's give it a shot, because I was a terrible accountant. I wasn't that great of a bar operator, so I needed something to do. I was only about 35 and needed to make a living. So we started Green Flash, and geez, we had no idea what would happen, and it's been pretty crazy.
Well, how does it make the transition from a group of people that love to make beer into like a bona fide ongoing business? What was that transition like?
Well, for Green Flash, it was all about West Coast IPA. Somewhere pretty early on, maybe in 2003, I kind of came up with this idea that people are thinking about IPAs, which is a style of beer, thinking about it in two different ways, kind of like East Coast and West Coast style IPAs. And I went to our brewer, Chuck, and I said, hey, can we make the benchmark of what a West Coast IPA is? We'll call it West Coast IPA. And he said, yeah, I can do that. And then we did, and the beer was amazing. And people
got like much of a sales job there. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that's right.
Well, if you knew Chuck has more, just a very confident guy, and you put something to him, and he actually does. He has the skills to back it up. So we made a beer called West Coast IPA. It's kind of like Kleenex or Jell-O now. It's a beer style now.
Yeah.
And so that's really what kept me from having to go back to being an accountant, and made Green Flash work.
So that was like your very first breakthrough product that everyone started to know the brand for that particular product.
No doubt.
And then from there, how did you guys start to expand into kind of the full offering that we see today with some of the beer that I'm enjoying?
When we started, it was really kind of a pretty small idea. We were going to make hoppy session pale ales to drink in pubs in San Diego. And then we did West Coast IPA, and the phone started ringing from all over the country. People in New York and in Boston and Miami and, just in Ohio wanted to drink West Coast IPA, and it, that really caught on. And because of that, we became kind of known as an innovator. And then we kind of scrapped all the other stuff that wasn't really working at the time and became an innovator. And we spent most of our effort on R&D and creating new products and trying to come up with new ideas. And we were the first Belgian IPA in the country with a beer called Le Freak that won medals in Belgium and in the U.S. And, we just became an innovator, and we became known for that. So we went off into the specialty end of beer, and we didn't just make GFBs, just crushable blonde ales. We made all these super specialty beers, and that put us on the map.
What was your moment when you realized this is a legit? You can take a big swig if you want. When you realized, okay, this has gone from hobby to we are a legit brand that has big time potential. Was there a moment when you look back and like that was it, or this was it, or was it just that you were too drunk all the time?
It kind of really, for us, it happened all pretty much in about a 2-month period. We had made some business mistakes, and our business was kind of floundering a bit. And we had been getting calls for West Coast IPA from all over the country, but we weren't answering them because we couldn't make enough beer. And so I had to go and answer those calls. And so I called back Denver, and I called back New York, and I called back Boston, and I said, you still want some West Coast IPA? And they were like, yeah, how many trucks can you send us? And I was like, none, like one maybe, And so and over the course of about 2 or 3 months, we realized, wait a minute, we're really nationally known for being a super specialty craft beer maker. Because we'd kind of floundered at this other idea that we were going to be this hoppy session IPA to drink in pubs in San Diego. We were floundering. But the West Coast IPA thing just took off everywhere. And so we just went down that path. It was being versatile or whatever, or, just surviving. That's what we did.
It's super competitive. You walk even in just a standard grocery store, There are craft brews everywhere, not to mention the big guys. What's been, do you think, the secret to competing in such a really dynamic and hyper-competitive industry?
You know, the green flash of success, really, if that's what you're talking about, is that all the terrific people we put in the company and in the building. You know, fantastic brewers that make amazing beer, you know, sales guys that really know what they're doing, our marketing team, our creative team, our communications team. I mean, just, you know, the smartest thing I've done in 15 years is hire great people. There's almost nothing left for me to do. They're all really great at all these jobs.
Well, you come do Callaway Live while they're back at the Green Flash working.
Yeah, cheers.
Well, the reason we know about you is I mentioned we have a bunch of over drinkers in our group here at Callaway, and every time we'd go out and play golf, we'd have Green Flash, and we started to kind of dig in a little bit on the company. We also found out that you were a massive golfer, so we thought that's a huge connection right there. That's how we know Iration. Yeah, you're a huge golfer. You clearly enjoy your own product, and and no two things go better than beer and golf.
That's true.
And so when we're sitting around thinking we're gonna have Mike on the show, Amanda, who's from Pittsburgh and averages about a case of beer a week, raised her hand. She said, Amanda, why don't I go and sit with Dave Adams, who we mentioned earlier, who knows more about beer than anybody else, and try to figure out what's the best way to pair beer with some of the items you might find around the golf course. And she did, and take a look.
Oh.
Dave, two of my favorite things about golf, the food and the booze. Hot dogs at the turn are a necessity, but what kind of beer should I be pairing it with?
Well, I couldn't agree more with you. I love a hot dog at the turn. What we have for you today is going to be Soul Style IPA, wonderful American IPA, using all kinds of fun, citrusy, bright hops. Those hops are going to really cut through all the mustard and ketchup that you're using on there. We made a little special dog here today with some guacamole wrapped in bacon, kind of a nod to our friends down in Baja. We're really excited about it. But as you can see, the beer is bright and delicious, has all kinds of nice effervescence to it, which is going to help cut through all the stuff in the hot dog. I think you're going to really enjoy that one.
This would certainly make me feel better about my game. Guacamole, bacon, hot dogs, and beer. I love it. This looks delicious. But we're not done yet. We got a grilled chicken sandwich, one of my personal favorites. What is the best kind of beer to pair with that on the golf course?
So with this grilled chicken sandwich and the ones that you're going to find on the course, grab yourself a C2C lager.
I think I will.
Please.
Yes, go on.
German Zwickel lager. It's an unfiltered lager. It's bright, it's crisp, it's effervescent, it's refreshing. Perfect golf course beer, in my opinion.
Yep.
This always makes my score a lot better.
So this is definitely a little bit lighter, right?
A little bit lighter, yeah. This one's about 6.5%. This one's about 4% alcohol. So much easier drinking. You can have 4 or 5 more through 18 holes, and you're all set.
I like the way you think. Harry also is very health conscious now, so this could be the healthy diet meal for him.
I think that's the one.
Okay, I'm going to carry this with us, I think, as we move along. So now we're really talking. Anything on a croissant is worthy of eating.
Yeah, that's when you know it's serious.
All right, what do we got here?
So here we have a curried chicken salad sandwich, or take on a chicken salad sandwich that you would see out on the course. And the beer that we paired with it, I really love. It's called Passion Fruit Kicker.
Ooh.
It's a nice American wheat-based beer that we use some passion fruit puree and a passion fruit black tea, and it has all this beautiful bright aroma of tropical fruits. Super refreshing, great hot day beer.
Yum.
I enjoy these quite
also
a bit.
A health drink because there's fruit in it.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you see a theme
and
here?
Tea's great for you
we
as well.
We like to make excuses for our bad behavior on the golf course. All right, and we're going to finish it up with a delicious looking turkey wrap.
Yeah, we have a lovely turkey wrap for you, and we're going to do it with one of our...
The beers are getting bigger.
Yeah, we're going to do it with one of our newest beers, our blonde ale called GFB.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's what we think of it as is kind of the every occasion beer. So this is out in the backyard, hanging out, having a barbecue, out at the golf course, obviously. Comes in 19.2 ounces when 12 isn't enough for you. That's what you need. This is when you're having
a really bad day on the course,
no
right?
doubt, yeah.
I'm not even going to pour this into a glass because this is the kind of beer that you just drink straight out of the can, right?
Absolutely. When you're at 70 at the turn, you're grabbing a couple of GFBs.
I love it. GFBs, we got food, we got beer, we got health beer. Harry, I don't think we could ask for anything more.
Welcome back, Callaway for mentioning Dave Adams and Mike. We thought we're not going to let anybody leave watching Callaway Live tonight or anybody in the studio audience without knowing a crapload more about beer than they did before. So this is, we don't have a name for this, but let's call it beer education. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Beer education. And first question, how many beers did Amanda drink when she was over at you guys' joint?
She drank about 4.5. You know.
You're supposed to plead the fifth on that.
Oh, I mean, two.
All we know is she did the walk of shame back into the office after that. That meant something totally different in college. I apologize, Amanda. I didn't mean that. Not what I meant at all. All right, so I know that we talked earlier, and it's all I know about is about beer is that I like to drink it. But you kind of broke it down and pretty simple. And the first thing that when you think about making a great beer is ingredients.
No doubt. Yeah, the ingredients that we have, all beer is basically made out of the same basic four ingredients: malted barley, hops, water, and yeast. So we brought with us some malted barley to show it off here. So there's all kinds of different types of malted barley depending on the way that they're heated after they're grown. So they go to malting facilities, get heated up, and that's what makes the different colors of the beers that we're seeing nowadays. So you can see the roasted malt and chocolate malt and some oats in there. Yeah. That's what makes the fermentable sugar in the beer. So it turns into alcohol, which we all love.
It's kind of dry.
How does it taste?
Yeah, it tastes good, but kind of dry.
The next part, which is probably the most popular, and Mike was alluding to earlier about the West Coast IPAs, we have hops. So most commercial breweries use pelletized hops. They're not as pretty looking, but these are what hops kind of look like.
That's a natural. There's a hop right there, which in California, a lot of people would mistake that for something else, but that is a hop.
It's actually the closest living relative to that.
Is it really?
Referencing, so, some of that. Believe it or not. Here, have a fake
Anybody
one.
got a vape around? No, okay.
So you can, if you give that...
Thank you very much.
Give this one a whiff if you don't mind. So,
ooh, that's hoppy.
Right. It smells real nice.
That does smell nice.
Hops are used for bitterness, flavor, and aroma, depending on when you use them during the brewing process. And there's all kinds of different hops around the world out there. We use about 25 or 30 different hops at our brewery, and we get a lot of farm direct hops. So we get to go visit the hop farms and talk to the growers and pick the specific hops for the beers that we really want to make.
What kind of climate does hops grow in best?
They grow in America, mostly in Yakima Valley, Washington. So Pacific Northwest does about 85 to 90% of all the hops around here. And that's where the majority of the breweries get them from. They also grow in the UK, they grow in the Czech Republic, they grow in the Southern Hemisphere in Australia and New Zealand as well. And it really just has to do with different terroir, different alpha acids, different beta acids, all kinds of different characteristics that'll come into the beer.
Yeah, but a buddy of mine in college used to grow those right in his basement with the lights and everything. So it can grow.
Did he smoke them out?
I know that where the rubber hits the road, you have the great ingredients, and that takes a lot on from your perspective of growing this business. You have the supply chain that's going to get you the great ingredients. It comes in, and then the process of putting that all together is the next, really, where the rubber hits the road.
Absolutely. And the process goes as such. Basically, we take this malted barley, we grind it up, we mix it in with hot water, which sparks this awesome enzymatic reaction.
How hot is the water?
It's about 135, 145.
All right.
And what it's going to do is convert its own starches into fermentable sugars. So that way, later on, when we introduce the yeast, it's going to turn into alcohol and flavors and things like that. So that's the first process. The next process is we're going to get rid of all of the malted barley, add a little bit of water in so we can reduce up the beer, make it nice and concentrated, and then we're going to put it over into the boil kettle where we're going to add our first hop addition, our second, our third, and our fourth, for us particularly, because we enjoy hop-forward beers. And then it moves into the whirlpool where we add some more hops in, believe it or not. From there, we've done the hot side of the beer, basically like you cooking it on your stove. It made the wort. We made hoppy sugar water. We send it over to what's called the cellar, where we have the magic happen. That's where the yeast gets introduced. That's where it's going to ferment out all the sugars and create alcohol, carbonation, and esters, which are natural fruity compounds and flavors. After we're done with that, we're going to dry hop it, where all that beautiful hop aroma is that you got to smell a second ago.
Did you say dry hop?
Yeah, dry hop.
I just want to make sure you said that.
After that, we're going to send it off to the filtration area. So we're going to filter out any of the stuff that we don't want, make a nice, bright, pretty, clear beer after that, and then we send it off to package, whether it goes in a bottle or a can. That's pretty much the end of the process.
So you're looking for a hue. I know that's important
No, not the end.
How the beer? Yeah, there's a packaging, because the packaging, I think we just mentioned this. You're walking down the grocery store aisle. Hypothetically, your wife is yelling at you with the laundry list of stuff. And she's saying, Harry, she's saying, whatever your name is, go get this and this and this. And you walk in the beer aisle, there are a million different looks to what a beer will look like. How critical is it to pick out like the exact package and look that you want in that beer?
It's the packaging's got to be the story of your brand and what people think of you and how they care about you and how you connect to customers over a long time. And we've been at it 15 years. And, the Green Flash story started as, there's this amazing thing that happens right after sunset. And in Southern California, we turn our surfboards or our sailboats or, go off our back balcony or look and what have you. And, special things can happen. But then, 15 years of Green Flash passed by, and it's all about the fact that we created West Coast IPA and Le Freak and Ram Vert and all these special beers, and we've created our own story. And we have to have that story communicated through the packaging that connects to the customer, like all of their experiences with us over a long time. And a lot of that happens in our tasting rooms, like in San Diego and in Alpine and in Poway and now in Virginia Beach, where customers come to the brewery and they get to meet Dave and our team and take tours of the brewery, sample maybe 30, potentially up to, there's that many different beers. They don't sample them all that day.
That's where the puke bucket comes in.
Yeah, but we have maybe 20 to 30 beers on tap at any given time, and you can taste all these beers that are maybe not available in the store. And they can see the forklift driving by and brewers in their tall rubber boots and people working very hard. And, my wife and I's 15 years of commitment and 3 mortgages and, house refinances and the whole thing. And you see it all laid out there where it's, a commitment and a passion. And people connect to that in our tasting rooms. Dave does a great job in our tasting rooms.
So what's the key to how you go through a beer tasting? If I'm walking in, what are the things, Dave, that you're going to try to tell me to be paying attention to as I, for example, drink the rest of my GFB? Let's do that.
Yeah, let's pour it into a glass first. Can I open one?
All right, yeah, go ahead.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Mine's almost done anyway.
Let's crack them open. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the appearance of the beer. So you can see GFB, specifically nice, bright, clear, pretty, golden characteristic, beautiful head retention. That's another thing that we'd like to notice.
I'm sorry, I just have to laugh when you say that.
It's reasonable.
That is beautiful. So that's a big part of it, right? You'll probably go through a lot of iterations to get that color exactly right when you pour it in the glass.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
On this particular beer, we spent almost a year in a bunch of different iterations of how to make the perfect blonde ale that was crushable and would be there like we kept picturing, backyard barbecue with a cooler and all the beers in it, and that occasion, or watching football games, or watching the U.S. Open, or in your living room, and there's, a bunch of guys and drinking one beer. But we wanted to have
not one beer. They're not sharing one beer. They're having a lot of beer.
But having everybody drink GFBs.
That'd be a weird party. If there was a bunch of guys sharing one beer.
And so, we were going for that, but we wanted to have real strong character also. We didn't want it to just be bland and, dumbed down for everybody. We wanted it to be Green Flash character, but still be crushable and drinkable.
And kind of memorable, right? When I think of the beers I've had from Green Flash, they're memorable. It's not like you can't, I have no idea what beer I was drinking with my group of 18 friends when we had the one glass of beer. Sorry. That was actually my party he was talking about.
And it's one of the hardest things to do, like Mike was talking about, to have a beer that speaks to people who love beer to death, and they're big beer geeks, they're big beer nerds, and to also have a beer that works for everybody and anyone, right? Anybody that's going to go buy a 30-pack of macro beer and bring to their backyard, now they can have a craft beer to bring into their backyard that works for their friends because it's, easy enough to drink, it's not aggressive, it's great for all occasions, but it also works for the craft beer enthusiast too because it has lots of aroma, lots of flavor, great characteristics, and it sells at a great price. So it's all the things that, hopefully all of the categories are looking for, and that's what we were really striving to do with that beer.
The crushable means you can drink a lot of it?
That's right.
Okay, I didn't know what that meant. But the thing, you mentioned that everything means something different to everyone. There's an individuality to enjoying a beer. That's kind of why we like GFB, because I asked you guys, well, what does GFB stand for? And you're like, whatever you want it to stand for.
That's right.
So we thought, hey, let's take the audience here, and these are like below average intelligence audience. But that's why it's important that the beer is only 3 letters. And we said, what do you think GFB stands for? And this is a stack of coasters here of some of the folks that picked them. Well, there's the obvious, great effing beer. Yeah,
That's where it all started.
Is that where it started from?
That's where it all started.
That's where it all started from. Throw that over there. Golfer's favorite beer. I like that.
Ooh, I like it.
I like that one. We're a golf show, golf company. There you go. Green Flash beer. That's too obvious. It's too obvious. We'll keep that one up here. Golf Flash beer. Who did Golf Flash beer? Lame. All right. This is even more lame. This is from the shameless Callaway commercial. Great Big Bertha Fusion beer. Okay, that one's less lame, but still lame. Oh, Velardo almost took his head off. Oh, here's from some of the laid-back folks. It's a great fishing beer. Like that.
Ooh, fishing.
I like that. Could be foosball beer.
Foosball.
Yeah, like that.
Football.
Great for, what does that say? Great for what?
Not sure.
I don't know.
Bogeys.
Great for
bogeys.
Great for bogeys beer.
Bogeys.
Okay, I like that. I can't read. Can you read that? That's horrible handwriting. Horrible handwriting. Golf. That was yours. That was terrible. You will not be receiving a departing gift, except for this coaster that says golf-friendly beer. There you go. There's your departing gift.
Congratulations.
Your coasters have really good aerodynamics.
Yeah.
You guys could come work in our God's finest beer.
Ooh.
I like that one.
I like that.
I like that one.
I like that.
This is it's one of the only beers I know that's church appropriate. So that's a great beer there. And then the last one is ginormous frickin' beer. That's what this is. The ginormous frickin' beer. You like that?
Yes.
Hey. As a San Diegan, we're so jacked for your success with this, and we know we know how hard work it is. You mentioned all the stuff that you've put into it, and surround yourself with great people like Dave here and Dave's awesome beard. And best of luck to you. Thanks for being here, and we look forward to seeing what else you guys have coming down the pike, and we'll drink it if you send it to us.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it. That's Mike, Dave, Green Flash Beer. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. We'll see you next time on Callaway Live. Thanks, guys. That's awesome. I've never actually smelled like